What's up? It is E Sports live on this Tuesday. Thanks for coming along with us here on the show as we talk about what Peyton Manning said about the Tennessee Titans this past weekend at the NFL Pro Bowl games in Las Vegas. He caught up with Jim Wyatt of TennesseeTitans.com about a bunch of different topics, including a Titans quarterback who is potentially have a chance to go for a roster spot, a former Vol quarterback, the voice of the Titans, Mike Keith, and then also talked about Ran Carthon, a former teammate of his, and Titans head coach Mike Vrabel. So what Peyton Manning said could potentially hint at the direction that new GM Ran Carthon and Titans head coach Mike Vrabel could take this offseason. So we'll play you the video of Peyton Manning talking about Ran and Vrabel. You can go check out at our website, A2ZSports.com, for what Peyton Manning said about Josh Dobbs, what he said about Hendon Hooker, and also you can see Jim Wyatt, what he said about Mike Keith as well. So Peyton Manning hitting a lot of different storylines for Tennessee Titans and Tennessee Vols fans this past weekend. So we're going to talk through it and play the video of the Ran Carthon conversation. And really what I heard from it is going to lead us to this next topic that we're going to ask you guys about what and how we're going to describe this Titans offseason when it comes to rebuild, reset, or retool. So we'll get to that here in a second. And then Tom Brady did speak again yesterday about his retirement and left the door open for something. So we'll ask you if you think Tom Brady will play in 2023 or not. And then it is Tuesday, which means sports trivia. Zach, we had a bad week last week, 2-3 last week in our sports trivia. So we got a rebound. We were at 67% through 70 questions of this. And so we got 5 more questions today that we'll get to at the end of the show. But welcome in. Let's have ourselves a good Tuesday.
Yeah, a lot to get to, and we will get to that very shortly. Make sure that you share the show, subscribe to the show, and follow the show. That's what you need to do here live on A to Z Sports. We got you covered on YouTube and on Twitter. We will tweet out link by link, segment by segment at A to Z Sports on Twitter. So follow us there. We got 20,000+ on Twitter. We're trying to climb that ladder as we get more followers and, throw out more content. I mean, there's a reason why you would follow. It's because we're throwing out really good content, opinions, live stream shows. So follow us at A to Z Sports. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel right there on YouTube. Search A to Z Sports Nashville. We're on our way and on pace to get to 15,000 subscribers. So help us out there. If you've already subscribed, go ahead and like this show. Like the video that you are watching right now. That will help the algorithm. That will get more Titans fans and more people involved in the community right there on YouTube. So subscribe and or like on YouTube and Facebook. What's going on, Facebookers? The real OGs, bottom left corner of your screen. Share now to public. Sharing is caring, and caring is sharing on this show. We need to pop up in your Facebook friends newsfeed. How that works out is you guys share the show around. So more people are going to be piling in over the next 5 to 10 minutes as we get this thing going. And share the show around, subscribe, follow, do all of those things. That would help us out a great deal as we continue to grow this community. So on a Titans Tuesday, Trivia Tuesday, let's get this party started.
Yep, let's do it officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports, powered by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Zach Bingham. Make sure you follow us all over social media as we are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, going live weekday mornings at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links to the show are also on Twitter timeline, and make sure you follow us on Instagram and TikTok for more great Titans coverage throughout this offseason. We got to thank our sponsors because they make it happen for us and they help out all of you. Wilson County Hyundai, make them a part of your new car buying process by going to see them in Lebanon or at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Farm Bureau Health Plans, get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans, better coverage rates and service. Learn more about a health plan for you, fbhp.com/ATOZ, and Hughes and Coleman Injury Lawyers, the official injury lawyers of the Tennessee Titans. If you've been injured in a car wreck, call them for a free case consultation at 800-800-4600. So, Zach, we're going to talk a lot about what Peyton Manning said to Jim Wyatt of TennesseeTitans.com over the weekend at the Pro Bowl games. He covered a lot of topics. Hendon Hooker, new Vols quarterback coming to the NFL. Josh Dobbs, with the Titans, ending the season, Mike Keith, and a lot of different things. You can go check that out at A2ZSports.com. But Peyton Manning was a teammate with the Indianapolis Colts of new Titans GM Ran Carthon, and was asked by Jim Wyatt about Ran and what he remembers about Ran as a teammate, and then what he thinks he can do as Titans GM. Here is Peyton Manning.
Yeah, I'm very happy for Ran. I saw him actually in San Francisco. I went to the 49ers Seahawks playoff game, and he was going through the interview process, and wished him luck during those interviews. I remember Ran as a player, smart player, tough player, accountable. You could tell he grew up in a football family. Didn't take him long to figure out our system, and we put him in there a lot, during critical situations because he knew what to do. And as a quarterback, you always want running backs in there that know what to do. And I spent some time with Ran when he was with the Rams. The year after I finished playing, went out there and spent some time with, or maybe a couple years after I finished playing with Sean McVay and their staff, and watched some film with Ran and Les Snead. So great hire by the Titans, and I think he'll do a heck of a job. I mean, they both want to win. That's all Mike cares about is winning. And Ran speaks the same language, and so I think the two of them can work well together. It's obviously important, I think, for head coaches and GMs to be in sync. You don't have to agree on everything, but you better be communicating and talking things out. And so I think they'll do that, and I think it could be a really good combination.
A really good combination. Ran Carthon and Mike Vrabel speaking the same language. Collaboration was such a big deal and a big word that the Titans used over and over as they were going on their search for a new general manager. And based off of Peyton Manning's words, that he thinks those two guys fit nicely. So, Zach, what was your initial takeaway from hearing Peyton talk about Ran Carthon and then how he fits with Vrabel?
Well, I think it aligns with what we've known and seen from Ran Carthon since he was hired, right? Football mentality, level-headed, has a background that, is deep and ingrained in football. And then I think that the other thing that I noticed in that clip is the Mike Vrabel comment of all he wants to do is win. And that is true. I mean, that's the one thing that we truly know about Mike Vrabel. All he's wanted to do in winning with the Patriots, with his coaching, with him being a head coach of the Tennessee Titans, whatever it takes to win. We heard Mike Vrabel, and I remember this show towards the end of last season. This was before they got bounced, in the last week of the season, of we need more effort. We need guys to work harder. We need them to stay longer. It's not an 8-to-4 job. Those are the type of things that you get from Mike Vrabel that goes to what Peyton Manning says, is he's willing to push and say, look, we're not doing enough to win. I know what it takes to win, because Mike Vrabel has seen it at the highest level for the most consistent period in football history with the New England Patriots as a player. And now he's trying to, and it's different, right? Because speaking of Tom Brady on the graphic, we're going to talk about Tom Brady later on in the show, but he knows what it takes to win. And I think that when you look as a head coach, it's different, right? Mike Vrabel cannot impact the game physically, right? He has to impact the game mentally and emotionally through his coaching and his teaching. And when Peyton Manning says that all Mike Vrabel wants to do is win, that comes from a place, from a man to men that know what it takes to win. And this season, Austin, I think Mike Vrabel knew that the roster and what they were doing towards the end of the season probably wasn't enough to win. And that's why you got the results that you did.
Yeah, for sure. And that had to, I think it's funny of like how Mike Vrabel looks when he was going through those weekly press conferences where he's talking to Titans media 4 times a week during a 7-game losing streak. And then how fresh he looked after a couple weeks off when Ran Carthon was introduced as new Titans GM, of like the losing was taking such a toll on the Titans head coach. Yeah. Wipe your hands clean of it. Go get some R&R for a couple weeks and get back to it and feel really, the ability to go after it. So real quick, Denise here in the comment section has constantly said that wouldn't mind Peyton as the OC or quarterback coach of the Titans. That's not going to happen. Peyton Manning is well above being an offensive coordinator or a position coach. Peyton Manning's well above being a head coach in the NFL. He's got so many other things going on that there's no point for Peyton Manning to
Well,
spend
I think the
that,
point is
the amount of time.
if he had drive to do it, he could get it done, especially in today's age when you see, the Dilfers, the Deion Sanders of the world, even the Jeff Saturdays
Yeah, but
get
Peyton
opportunities, but he doesn't want to. And I want to clarify that. But if he did want to, he could, but it doesn't seem like those are his aspirations.
No, his aspirations are way bigger than a head coach in the NFL, and he's not going to go coach in college either. Peyton Manning's doing business stuff and fun things like the Pro Bowl games.
Well, he's been active. He was at the Bills game in Buffalo. He was at the Pro Bowl games. He was working all off season.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing stuff, right? But it's not grinding like an active coach would have to do, game planning. He's having fun after football. So anyway, let's get to this, Zach, because we played the full video, but you brought up the winning aspect of what Peyton Manning said about Mike Vrabel and Ran Carthon, and it made me think of something. So I'm going to play that video again, just that second part of Ran and Vrabel together and what their goals are.
They both want to win, that's all Mike cares about is winning. And Ran speaks the same language. And so I think the two of them can work well together. It's obviously important, I think, for head coaches and GMs to be in sync. You don't have to agree on everything, but you better be communicating and talking things out. And so I think they'll do that, and I think it could be a really good combination.
They speak the same language, and they want to win. So, Zach, let's do a little vocab lesson, and let's ask everybody this question here on the show to get the chat more involved. Pick one of these words to describe this Titans offseason plan. We've gone over these words already, but pick one of these words to describe the Titans offseason plan. 1, rebuild, reset, or retool. Pick one of these words right here. Rebuild, reset, or retool, because the Peyton Manning said it, they want to win, right? So I got my opinion on this as well. And so we'll get to that. So rebuild, reset, or retool. But Zach, I'll have you tell all the fine folks about how you reset and retooled and you're winning with Farm Bureau Health Plans.
Oh, yes, I am. FBHP.com. I retooled my health plan a year ago, actually right around this time. And, my process, I am an open book. I say what I mean what I say. I put it all on the table. With this endorsement, I had no idea what they were going to give me, to be honest. I was like, I would love to endorse Farm Bureau Health Plans. I'm willing to take the risk. But we signed the partnership before I actually got my deal. And I was like, do we want to do that? And they were like, yes, we do. Because they were confident in the plan that they were going to provide me. And I went through the same checks and balances in the process that you guys will go through. What you do is you basically call in or go to fbhp.com/A to Z. I took a health assessment. It took me like 20 minutes. I answered the questions openly and honestly. Then they gave me a quote. That's when my eyes got big. And I was like, whoa, they weren't joking around. I had better rates, better service, better coverage, all provided to me all of last year. I saved 20% every single solitary month compared to my old plan. And they knew that. And look, it's a testament to Farm Bureau Health Plans of Tennessee, in which we came back with the partnership this year, and let's roll it back. Let's run it back. Let's ran it back. Talking about Ran Carthon. We ran it back, and man, I'm really glad that I did. So my health coverage is provided by Farm Bureau Health Plans. That is the truest statement that I could ever make. Yours can too by visiting fbhp.com/A to Z.
Hey, if you are an existing user of the BetMGM app, you can take advantage of the NBA one-game parlay insurance feature by opting into that in your BetMGM app for NBA one-game parlay insurance. That means you get up to $25 back in bonus bets if your NBA one-game parlay of 4 legs or more falls just 1 leg short. So take advantage of that this NBA season throughout the spring for the NBA one-game parlay insurance feature when you opt into it on the BetMGM app. So, Zach, we're asking this question. What's one word to describe, or pick one of these words to describe the Titans offseason plan? Rebuild, reset, or retool? Now, we get this because Peyton Manning just said it, that Mike Vrabel wants to win. He knows Mike Vrabel. He knows Ran Carthon. They want to win, and they speak the same language. Rebuild, reset, and retool. Zach, I'll send you to the chat.
Yeah, we've got a lot of comments coming in, which is good. I'm going to start with this. We'll start with Kick It to the King Productions, sprinkle a little lunch money. Rebuild. Let's remember, Peyton Manning also said and vouched for Adam Gase, I think, is he's trying to say, being a great head coach. I don't really take his word seriously. Now, the reason I think, and let's go back to what Jim Wyatt, I think his goal was, is as a reporter, and look, one of the most well-respected reporters in Nashville sports history, to be honest, is Jim Wyatt. He was on the Titans beat for years and then became part of the Titans basically communication staff and was writing for them for the website. His thought process, let's talk to Peyton Manning about Ran, because there's a history. He's talked to, Peyton Manning knows Mike Vrabel. They've gone against head-to-head against each other in some big-time playoff games and get his opinion. And then I think the last thing is Peyton was going to tell the truth, right?
Yes.
There's nothing for him to hide. He was just going to say exactly what he felt. So retool, reset, or rebuild are the choices. Let's go to the chat. Jermel says retool. Josh, Scott, DeMario, retool. Titan Rossi says retool. Kenny says retool. Dom, retool. Shannon, retool. American, retool. Here's a couple of resets, though. Tighten Up says reset. Matt says reset. Steven says reset. Here's our first rebuild from Joshua. So break it on down and build it up from the foundation up, which Mike Vrabel's kind of the base foundation. Retool from Tress, if all things go well. Jay says retool. So does Gene. So does Devin. So does Eddie. Rebuild from Davidson. Clayton says retool. Reset from Lucas. Retool from John. Reconstruct. So going, we'll have to define what reconstruct means. It's not a part of our three.
Yeah. Well, do you want, let's pause here. Let's define, because I think Zach, your graphic does a good job of really kind of describing what these words stand for, right? Rebuild. I think that seems like a complete start over, and maybe that's a first round draft pick quarterback to be named later, right? Reset is you kind of run it back with Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry in the foundation, and you reset some other things in the roster to help the salary cap get healthier. And then retool is you're going for it, and you're going to get rid of Ryan Tannehill. I do think Ryan Tannehill could be a part of retooling in a way, but a retool, aggressive retool, is going and acquiring a proven commodity at quarterback and going for it and not having, whether a rebuild year or a lame duck year where you're resetting. So that's
all right. So I'll stop you there.
Yeah.
How would you define retooling with Ryan Tannehill?
I think you would have to get aggressive in free agency and with the trade market. I think it's acquiring weapons and offensive.
Like, give me an example. So this is where you would say, wow, the Titans are retooling with Ryan Tannehill.
All right, I mean, the first one to come off the top of my head, right, is on the fly. So I wasn't exactly prep for this. But
that's why I asked it.
Yeah, no, I think keeping Ryan Tannehill and trading for T. Higgins from the Bengals or something like that, right? Like that fits what that will look like. Of T. Higgins and the Bengals are in a situation where they're going to have to pay a boatload of money to a bunch of different guys, and they have to pick one that they probably can't afford. And T. Higgins is the first one who has an expiring contract. So that could be an opportunity for the Bengals to get great value. I don't know what that trade looks like or what pick it is.
I'm not the details, but I think
I do think a retool with Ryan Tannehill is an aggressive move like that, in acquiring a weapon for Tannehill in the offense, and also continuing to completely fix the offensive line. Fixing the offensive line is a must in any of these situations.
Right. Yeah. So it doesn't really matter. You're not going to win any games if you don't fix the offensive line. I think I'm with you. It is a DeAndre Hopkins, Keenan Allen, T. Higgins type of big time receiver to pair with Treylon Burks. And then you got to figure out what you're going to do with Robert Woods. You're probably going to cut Robert Woods regardless to pay the new premier, because all of the guys that I just named are number one wide receivers. Robert Woods is a number two. And honestly, Austin, we're going to find out in the next 3 years what Robert Woods really is. If he plays for the Titans or some other team, if he's more or closer to number 3 at this point in his career. I don't know. We'll find that out. But yeah, I think that's kind of the only way that you can define a retool with Ryan Tannehill. How do you answer this question? Is it rebuild? Is it reset or retool for the Tennessee Titans based on Peyton Manning's, talking about, Ran and Mike Vrabel wanting to win?
Well, I think there is zero chance that Ran Carthon and Mike Vrabel, especially Mike Vrabel, has any interest in rebuilding. Like, again, what I think led me to this opinion is that Peyton Manning knows that Mike Vrabel just wants to win. Mike Vrabel and the New England Patriots kept Peyton Manning out of a lot more Super Bowls and AFC title games than Peyton wants to really remember. And so he knows what Mike Vrabel is made out of. He had played with Ran Carthon, who was an undrafted free agent, who works hard, smart guy, who knows football family, all those things that Peyton said. Vrabel, in my opinion, has zero interest in a rebuild year.
But who does, right? Of course he doesn't. You're stating the obvious. That is not his mindset. I don't think any franchise or head coach wants to rebuild.
But I think that there is an understanding in situations, and Mike Vrabel was never brought into the Tennessee Titans organization for a rebuild. Arthur Smith was hired by the Atlanta Falcons with an understanding that a rebuild was going to be down the road because of Matt Ryan's age and overall situation. And so that was how Arthur Smith was hired. Mike Vrabel was hired to maximize what they had already had in-house.
Well, we're 5 years later.
I know. And so, again, in how Vrabel has been a part of the organization, it's always been compete, go for it, make the playoffs, or have a chance to make the playoffs and win the AFC South. Because Mike Vrabel, in all 5 years, they have had an opportunity where they've either clinched a playoff spot or they were playing for it in the last game of the regular season. They've made it 3 times and they've missed it twice. And so Mike Vrabel has no interest in rebuilding. At this point in his career, he has no interest in rebuilding, and I believe that. Like, we talked about it earlier in the show. We saw the toll it took on Mike Vrabel losing 7 games in a row. He doesn't want to go through a season where he's going to have to swallow and understand this team might win 6 or 7 games, 8 if it goes well, right?
But sometimes you don't get that luxury, right? Sometimes that it's the best thing for the future of the franchise. I'm not answering the question by any means, but in some situations, the coach, it doesn't matter what they want to do. It is just in the best interest. And honestly, Austin, you're going into this season where John Robinson has left, and not on his own accord, but has left the Titans franchise in a little bit of disarray as far as the cap situation. They are over the cap. They've got some bad contracts on the books, and that happens to every team every year, but they've got more than they ever have. This is not the team that, of the last couple of years with money to spend. They're going to have money to cut to have money to spend. So this is why I say, of course, he doesn't have any interest, but this is not Mike Vrabel taking over a playoff team. This is 5 years later of a Mike Vrabel non-playoff team trying to figure out which direction they're trying to go.
So, Zach, I just thought of something, and I don't have the information, but I think we could find it fairly quick. When's the last time before this season that Mike Vrabel has been a part of a losing record football team?
Probably in Kansas City. Oh, well, no, Texans, right? I mean, you're talking about like coach and player.
Coach and player. And with the Houston Texans, they weren't a losing football team, I don't think, because he was at Ohio. I mean, maybe the year they drafted Deshaun Watson, but that was like 1 year. The Texans were not terrible early on.
Oh, Mike Vrabel is a winner, right?
That's what I'm saying.
It's like Tom Brady is a winner. There's some guys that are just winners.
Yeah. I mean, it's maybe a couple years of the Texans, but outside of that, like, he was at Ohio State under Urban Meyer. He was with the Chiefs, who were not a bad team, I don't think, at the end of his career. The Patriots, we know. He was drafted by the Steelers, who are perennially good or very good. And Ohio State, I mean, when he was a player, they were fantastic. And so And David Brown says 2011 Ohio State was 6-7.
Yikes.
Was Ohio State 6-7 in 2011?
Well, here you go. I've got it.
Okay.
Houston Texans 4-12.
What year was that?
The 2017 season, in which Mike Vrabel was the defensive coordinator.
That's when everybody got hurt and they sucked.
Thank you, internet.
Yeah. So again, if you go back,
but it's one. I think your point is not how it's how many. It's not which one.
My point is Mike Vrabel's been a part of Ohio State and NFL franchises for damn near 30 consecutive years, and there's maybe only like 3 or 4 years where they've had a losing record that he's been a part of. And so I don't think Mike Vrabel has any interest in a rebuild. So my answer, Zach, and we have a lot to get into because neither of us have answered the question yet. I feel like this is a reset type of offseason. And I've got a lot of different reasons for it, but I think it's a reset type of offseason. I've believed for a while that Ryan Tannehill is going to be the quarterback for 2023. And there's other things that are going to look very different, but Tannehill.
I was kind of the same thing, Jay.
This is my prediction.
No, I know.
Based off of my feelings and instincts that I think it's a reset type year. Ryan Tannehill is expensive if you have him or if you don't have him against this cap. And I think there's so many other things that you have to address before Ryan Tannehill is a necessity of moving on from. I think regardless of who you bring in at quarterback, the offensive line is so bad. And the weapons outside of Henry and glimpses of Burks and glimpses of Chig are terrible that I feel like reset is the right approach for this offseason. And again, we talked about it some yesterday, Zach, where I said that I don't think Ran Carthon wants to trade up for the number 1 overall pick because that starts his GM clock immediately. And I don't think Ran Carthon is going to trade for the retool quarterback or the retool weapon to keep Tannehill to also start his clock. I think it's a reset type of year with a bunch of other ways. And you can go after, you can answer it if you want to, or, react to whatever I said there. But I think reset is where I answer the question.
All right, let's define this. I got a quick question. I have my answer.
Okay.
Titans trade up over the Colts with the Arizona Cardinals and draft CJ Stroud. Is that a reset? Now, they keep Ryan Tannehill for a year, for the final year of his contract, but they draft their future quarterback and let him. I'm throwing out, again,
Sure.
hypotheticals.
Yeah, that's fair.
But how would you define that? Because when you said this, I was now starting to rack my brain of like, okay, how do you not just, because I think the worst thing would be is to do the same thing and expect a different result based on the surrounding pieces of what the AFC South, I think, is going to represent next year and really what the AFC as a whole. So you're going to be in the same situation. You're going to be probably the NFL is going to force you to play the Jags in week 18, and you're going to be in the same situation again, right? So how would you define that?
I still think that would be a rebuild. But I also think if the Titans move up to draft the quarterback in the first round, they can't have Ryan Tannehill because in that situation,
they're kicking the can.
I know, but in that situation, I don't think they can go into the season with Ryan Tannehill and a first round rookie.
Why not?
Because now you don't have that first round pick to help out the quarterback. The first round pick is the quarterback, and you've got 2 quarterbacks. Only one of them can play. And so my thought is that if you trade up, Zach, if you trade up for a quarterback, I think you have to move on from Tannehill so you get at least $17 other million to go help that rookie quarterback.
I don't think that they do. Well, you're going to get that money next year when he plays, right? That's the justification. Is you have your future and you're just maintaining. Because why I put that together, again, it's a hypothetical. Why I put that together is it accomplishes what you said about Ran Carthon extending a year,
not starting his clock, right? Yeah.
Right. Because he has his quarterback, but he hasn't officially started his clock.
I'm just going to say it because I want this to be as clear as possible. if the Titans draft a quarterback in the first round and keep Ryan Tannehill, they're doing both quarterbacks a disservice.
And I think that's more probable, though.
But I don't know. I think you have to, if you draft a first round quarterback, you have to cut Ryan Tannehill to save at minimum $17 million to go out and get other players that can help the first round quarterback. Because if you're not helping the first round quarterback, then what are you doing?
You're going to help the first round quarterback when the first round quarterback actually plays. All of the money will come off of the books. Your $100 million quarterback.
Then. So that's a rebuild, because now you're sacrificing 2023 and Ryan
that's
Tannehill's
why I asked the question.
$36 million cap hit. So
that's exactly why I asked the question.
So that in my mind is diagnosed and labeled as a rebuild in that situation. All right, so Zach, I want you to answer the question here in a second, but first, so again, here's the question that we're going to ask right now, and we'll continue to ask, reading your comments. How do you pick one of these words to define this Titans offseason plan: rebuild, reset, or retool? I say reset. We'll see what Zach says here in a second. More comments from you guys. But first, let me tell you all about Hughes and Coleman, the official injury lawyers of the Tennessee Titans. And if you have ever been injured in a car wreck, or if you do get injured in a car wreck, make sure you know who to go to make that awful experience make the most of it, right? To get the money you deserve from whatever medical expenses you have and whatever you deserve from that awful situation. Hughes and Coleman is where to go. The official injury lawyers of the Tennessee Titans. For a free case consultation, 800-800-4600 is their phone number. Again, they've got the muscle and the experience. They've recovered over $1 billion for their clients in Tennessee and Kentucky, and can do the same thing for you. Hughes and Coleman injury lawyers. For a free case consultation, call 800-800-4600, principal office, Nashville, Tennessee.
A to Z Sports were powered by BetMGM. You know, I was on a 6-game win streak. Make that 10.
Ooh.
4 last night. 4-0. Well, check that. I forgot my Cavs bet. I had 5-0 last night.
Damn.
My Cavs bet was not as big as my other 4 bets, so that's why I forgot about it. But I am streaking, baby. I am hot. I'm red hot. And thanks to BetMGM, you can be red hot too. Use the bonus code ATOZ Sports. That's ATOZ Sports. The best part about that, you get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses for new users. So go in there, use that bonus code ATOZ Sports, all one word, ATOZ SPORTS. You can get a hot streak like Big Dog over here. I'm rolling it back tonight. We got Lakers tonight. Lakers. Was LeBron going to do it? We're going to find out. I think the over-under is like 31 or 32. He needs 36. I don't know what we're going to do, but BetMGM is going to help us do it.
All right, so the question here, we've asked this. I've answered it with reset, but pick one of these words to describe what you think the Titans' offseason plan is: rebuild, reset, or retool. Zach, it's your turn. What do you think here with these 3 labels?
I think they will retool. Now, defining retool, as we've defined what you've said, is particular, because there are good ways to retool and there are very bad ways to retool. Because if you poorly retool, Austin, you blink twice and you're rebuilding. Here's your case in point: the Indianapolis Colts. How many years have they retooled with the wrong tool?
This would be the 3rd consecutive, right? Rivers, Wentz, Ryan.
Rivers, Wentz, Ryan.
Say that 5 times fast.
I can't do that. So you've got to be very careful in how you retool, because how would you categorize the Colts now?
Disaster.
But they are rebuilding.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that they are retooling. They've got some quarterback options out there. I think that they've got Aaron Rodgers to start. We haven't had our Aaron Rodgers show, Austin, you and I, but I think you kind of know how I feel about Aaron Rodgers. I think that could be a great retool, and for both parties. Derek Carr, I think, is a question mark retool that could find you into a rebuild mode, or maybe a different place for Derek Carr can serve him some good. You could retool with Jimmy Garoppolo or Trey Lance, because they've got to figure out that and the connection with Ran Carthon. You could retool with, a plethora of different ways. And there's going to be different quarterbacks this offseason that come out of the woodwork that you're going to say, oh, what? You could retool with Lamar Jackson. I don't know who knows what that's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
So there are all these different ways, but I do think I agree with what you said at the beginning on how much, and Peyton, I agree with you and Peyton. Mike Vrabel hates to lose. He wants to win. And I think Ran Carthon wants to come out of the gates and not take a step back. He wants to take a step forward. Now, I don't know if he believes, and I don't know, to take a leap forward, right? I don't think you in 1 year, unless you have Aaron Rodgers, you're not going to take a leap forward to compete with Burrow, Mahomes, and Josh Allen. But I do think that this is a retool type of offseason, and it's going to start with cutting all of the players that we've talked about, like Cunningham, possibly Ben Jones retiring, Lewan, Dupree, Woods, and it's going to free up a lot of money to retool.
Yeah, $45 million right there on the screen that you can free up, ASAP, right? And so I just, and I've got a lot of opinions about the quarterback situations that you just named through. I'm not going to, we'll have more shows and specific conversations about them. But, I do think there's a lot of hoops you got to jump through to get some of those guys. I don't think a couple of them that you mentioned would be upgrades for the Titans when it comes to financial and on the field. So, the Ravens is going to be, as Tom Brady was one domino effect to figure out what the quarterback shuffle was going to be this offseason, Lamar Jackson is another one. And what the Ravens decide to do with Lamar Jackson, whether it's do the exclusive franchise tag and then attempt to trade, is interesting because that's a lot of logistics that we have to kind of understand the situation. If the Ravens want to use the exclusive franchise tag on Lamar Jackson, that means that he cannot talk with other teams about an offer sheet, but that also means that the Ravens have to commit and understand they might be stuck with $45 million on the cap right now.
And 31 teams may call their bluff and force them to play with Lamar Jackson if they don't want to play with Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, for $45 million. But if they don't exclusive franchise tag, then the numbers lower, but now a team can negotiate with Lamar and they don't get what they could get in a trade. And so exclusive franchise tag Lamar and try to trade him seems like where that's going, but that's a lot to give up. Talk about 3 first-round picks or whatever that might be, plus what you have to pay Lamar Jackson on the other side.
Here's what the Titans have to do if they're going to retool. And I said this analogy in our pre-show conversation. If you're going over your neighbor's house to borrow a drill because yours has a faulty electric wire, you know how sometimes they, at the base of those drills, if it's not battery powered, it kind of gets faulty. Well, you go over there. You don't want to trade for another drill that doesn't, lock in the bit, right? You don't want to trade for another drill that has a fault. You want to trade for an improved one. That's how they have to retool.
Yeah,
Aaron Rodgers is the improved one. There are some guys on the marketplace that are just as faulty of a drill. That's not retooling. That's maintaining. And you're probably going to get to the same result as teetering on the playoffs and then getting bounced early.
Yeah. And
I think the chat answered the question of what they want. And I think that was powerful.
Because that's fun.
I think they're done. They're like me. I am done with Ryan Tannehill. It is not about his personality. It's not about his leadership. It's not about his toughness. It's not about Ryan Tannehill as the person. It's him as the quarterback. After the Bengals loss, I was done with him.
I know.
He cannot get the team where they need to go.
Yeah.
And so I think the chat, after a long, hard year, is now on my side of that. Done with Ryan Tannehill.
All right. So then there's the Tom Brady update where I think this is interesting too, because he didn't shut the door when he had an opportunity to shut the door on playing this upcoming season.
Did he set that domino back up?
I mean, it's like the bowling pin. I watched bowling the other night for whatever reason, and it was very entertaining. But it's like the bowling pin that's wobbling. It's like you don't know if it's going to fall or not, and it could fall, and then you get a strike. Or it stands and you're like, damn it, 7-10 split. What the hell am I going to do now? Tom Brady is that bowling pin right there. So Tom Brady left the door open a little bit. We'll update that right here. Tom Brady told Colin Cowherd yesterday that he is going to wait to start his Fox Sports broadcasting career until 2024. So he's delaying it a year. So that's, again, he was asked about, are you done playing? Are you willing to play maybe in 2023? And he skirted the question. He delayed the big $37.5 million a year from Fox until 2 seasons from now. So this question real quick, Zach, do you think Tom Brady will stay retired or unretire in 2023? And I'll let you tell all the fine folks about Wilson County Hyundai before we get their answers on the GOAT, if he's going to come back or not.
Yeah, Wilson County Hyundai, they're also the GOAT of dealerships. Quick trip down I-40, exit 236, wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Take a look at their inventory, including the Palisade, the full-size SUV with third-row seating, all the bells and whistles that you want, the perfect family car. Trade in your mother's minivan and get into a Palisade. They're sick. I saw a comment yesterday saying that they had a Palisade, which is great. So they're an endorser of the Hyundai. We love the Hyundai. We love Wilson County Hyundai, including the Sonata, which is a 4-door sedan, the Ioniq, which is battery powered. They have your perfect make and model. You've just got to go find it at wilsoncountyhyundai.com.
You can find a great bet tonight in the league, in the NBA, with NBA one-game parlay insurance with your BetMGM app. All you got to do is opt in to that NBA one-game parlay insurance feature, and you get up to $25 back in bonus bets if your NBA parlay, one-game parlay of 4 legs or more, falls just 1 leg short. I've done it a lot, trying to get back into the NBA after this upcoming weekend with my BetMGM app too. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 or older, Tennessee only. All promotions subject to qualification, eligible requirements. First online real money wager only. Rewards issued at knowledgeable bonus bets. Bonus bets expires 7 days. And for problem gambling support, call Tennessee Redline 800-889-9789. Zach, here's Tom Brady telling Colin Cowherd yesterday that he is going to begin his Fox Sports broadcasting career in 2024, not in 2023, as we might have expected, because that deal's been done for now basically 12 months, that Tom Brady will join Fox after his career is over for $37.5 million a year over the next 10 years. And so he's going to wait. So will Tom Brady stay retired or unretire in 2023? That's the question we're discussing now, because it feels like Brady could have said, I'm done. I'm not coming back. But he left the door open with the Fox situation, and he just didn't answer the question from Colin with a clear answer of, I'm done.
Real quick, Shannon says the chat is having a superior show to the host today. Shannon, that may be the case, but you're bringing the chat down. And the reason why you're bringing the chat down is by saying Brady is not the greatest of all time. So that tells you how stupid you are, Shannon. So take a long look in the mirror. The chat's doing a great job. And you're like the guy on trivia, right? We're about to do trivia a little bit later. You're the guy bringing down. So raise your level up so the chat maintains its excellence from today, because in no way you could write an essay in the chat or however many characters it allows, and you still could not back up the fact that Tom Brady isn't the greatest of all time. So bad on you, Shannon.
Yeah, Shannon's been in a weird mood.
Anyway. Well, that's why we got to call his ass out. Sorry, bud. That's how this works. Brad says stay retired. Mark says stay retired. Unretire there for Steven, saying that Brady is waiting for another team. Brady is done. Titans Rossi thinks stays retired. Let's see. Stays retired from Noah. We've got a lot of stays retired. Please stay retired, Patrick. So I think America, Brett Favre did this, right? He Jets, Vikings. There was a 3-year period where you're sitting there like, okay, Brett Favre. All right. Okay. And we're at that point with Tom Brady, I think. And it's unfortunate. It just lasted 1 year, right? Now, the 1 year was so disastrous that on the football field and off the football field, we publicly had to see the greatest quarterback of all time go through an array of bad situations, right? Whether it was the divorce of Giselle or whether it was on the field throwing numerous footballs into the ground that you don't really see Tom Brady do.
Yeah.
So I personally think that this is it for Tom Brady. I don't think he will open the door back up. I think he will stay retired. And I think this is a reset, to then go do his next career in broadcasting that he's kind of been set up for. But
yeah,
Tom Brady needs to take some time. And guys like Tom Brady, the idea of time, I think, is exciting. But then once you get in 4 months into time, I think you get restless. But I do think that he will stay untrue because of his personal life. I think that will hold him accountable to his retirement and take a year off, reset his mind and his body, and then go forth with his next career.
Yeah. Zach, my grandfather tried to retire at like 44 years old, but he retired in the winter. And so he got really bored real quick and then started doing something else in his second career for the next 40 years. But the joke is if he retired in April, he would just play golf and probably wouldn't have started that second career. So what does Tom Brady do? I think the timing is interesting. I think Tom Brady needs to decompress, right? Like he's been so go for 20 years or more that he needs to decompress. He needs to get away. He needs to kind of figure out what is life after football and then be able to miss the game enough to come back and do a great job when it comes to broadcasting. And Tony Romo is going through his, the honeymoon phase of Tony Romo's broadcasting career is over. And now people are coming after him and he got the big payday and now it's not working out that great. So I think Tom Brady taking a year off, I think is a smart thing from Tom Brady. I don't think it means he's going to leave the door cracked for, a team with high expectations that has a quarterback injury in August or September that gets desperate. So they call number 12 and have him come back. I don't think that makes any sense.
It's just defined as the phase of your life. You have phases, right? So, I was fortunate enough. I spoke to my former high school on Friday and they're ending a phase. You're just going into another phase. Tom Brady is going into another phase, but he needs to take a step back and really assess his career, what it represented, take some time off. And then, but he doesn't need to sit around for the next 30 years. I don't think we're saying that.
Yeah, sometimes a gap year after high school is good for you before you go to college. People do that. Like, that's the thing.
I was a cabana boy on the beach after I graduated college. I remember my dad saying, "What the hell are you doing? You just went 4 years. We paid 4 years for your college, and then you're going to go down and put up umbrellas for beach goers." Now, I do not regret it.
It's a gap year, Dad. I'm trying to find myself.
I don't regret that one single bit. And then I started my career in, the sports talk realm. I knew what I wanted to do, but I did. I took that gap, and damn, I'm glad that I did, right? I can't do that now. I don't foresee me doing that now. So Tom Brady needs to go find him a cabana boy job and do a little gap year.
Every time I put up an umbrella, Dad, I was just thinking about my next career moves. I brainstorming.
I wasn't thinking about that. I think I was more thinking about who I was putting the umbrella up for.
Oh man. So we both think Tom Brady's done. I think that funny gap years before or after college or after your NFL career, whatever that might be. All right. Let's we took a gap week last week when it came to trivia because we sucked. We went 2-3 as a unit, and I'll take responsibility for one of those misses there. So we got to bounce back here for Tuesday sports trivia. We got to go at least 4-1. We're at 67%. We got 5 more questions coming up, 4 sports, 1 non-sport. So we'll get to Tuesday sports trivia here in a second. But let me tell you guys about the Bone and Joint Institute. They can take care of you whenever injuries happen in life to either you or someone you care about, whatever it is. If it's one of your parents, grandparents that get hurt in older age and need to get back to health, they got that. If it's you doing something silly, rec sports, messing around with your kids, and you get hurt, go see the Bone and Joint Institute, all the way up to youth sports and professional and college athletes. They've got you covered, and they've got specialists there in their physician database who cover every type of injury in a great rehab facility on site in Franklin, Tennessee. It's so easy to get to because it's right off I-65 and Highway 96, boneandjointtn.org.
BetMGM, they power us and they should power you. Use the bonus code ATOZ Sports, all one word, in the bonus code TAB. They're the king of the sports book. I'm rolling hot. You can roll hot with BetMGM. Go to your app store and download the app today in your Apple or Android app store, especially because the big game is on the horizon and we got deals for you. Use that promo code, or excuse me, the bonus code right there at the bottom of the screen. That's ATOZ Sports, all one word. Let's get to it.
Tuesday sports trivia here on the show. We went 2-3 last week. We need to go 4-1 today. We're at 67%. We have one rule. It's no Googling. And Johnny, yes, we need a reset with trivia. That has been a theme of the show. We're not, or we can retool and get really good here and go 5-0. But a 4-1 would be a solid reset for today's Tuesday sports trivia. 4 sports questions and 1 non-sports. Zach, let's jump into it.
Super Bowl edition.
Okay.
We start with the Kansas City Chiefs. Which team beat the Chiefs in the 1986 AFC wildcard game? The Raiders, the Jets, the Browns, or the Seahawks? Which team beat the Kansas City Chiefs in the 1986 AFC wildcard game? The Los Angeles Raiders, the New York Jets, the Cleveland Browns, or the Seattle Seahawks? Now, the interesting part is the Seattle Seahawks were in the AFC at the time because they switched. Seahawks were created in 1976 along with Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I do know that. But which team beat them in the wild card game? We need somebody that has a little bit more experience maybe in life that remembers the 1986 playoffs.
We're getting Browns. 80s. I was not born.
So 86.
Scott says Browns, lock it in. And Scott, this is our guy. Scott is our MVP when it comes to, history with the NFL trivia.
You want to lock it in?
I feel pretty good when it comes. I trust Scott with a lot of these type of questions. And he said Browns, lock it in. I trust Ronnie Sneed, who says Browns.
All right.
And so Bernie Kosar year, not Kodak, but Bernie Kosar years. So let's go Browns, final A to Z.
Shouldn't be so trustworthy there.
Oh, no.
Ending a 5-game losing streak. The Jets down the Chiefs 35-15. The Jets had started the season 10-1 before winding up 10-6 and failing to win their division.
Well,
the 1986 Jets.
Xavier got it right. Mark got it right. Devin says, "Suck it, Scott." Hey, it's okay.
Led by Coach Joe Walton. They were 10-6. I'm trying to figure out who was the quarterback
of the Jets.
Pat Ryan.
Oh,
he played 2 games. Ken O'Brien played the majority of the season with 14.
Pat Ryan, former Titans color analyst and current Vols color analyst. All right, so 0-1.
Gosh, dang it. That was not the way we needed to start this.
No. Bounce back time.
Who was the man that coached the Eagles to 3 consecutive NFC championship appearances in the 1940s?
Oh, geez. I was about to say Andy Reid.
Well, again,
this is gonna be too easy.
There are some questions that I just can't answer because I know the answer to them.
For sure.
It's useless for me to even ask. So
No,
I'm
I'm
not
with
going to
you.
do it. So here are the options. Greasy Neal, Jim Trimble, Burt Bell, or Buck Shaw. Who was the man that coached the Eagles to 3 consecutive NFC championship game appearances in the 1940s? Greasy Neal, Jim Trimble, Burt Bell, or Buck Shaw?
Xavier said Coach Bell before you even said the name.
There's value to that.
So I think we have to go. And Dick Vermeil's not that old, Jake. But, so I say we go with Coach Bell.
We have any other?
I don't think anybody's answering with confidence other than how Xavier did. And Xavier got the last one right. And again, he answered it really quickly. So I'm going to go with Xavier's Coach Bell.
Let's see here. We are 0-2. Inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1969, Earl Greasy Neal coached the Eagles 1941 and 1950. 3 championship games were 1947, 1948, and 1949.
Okay. So,
I mean,
those are tough. Those are very specific.
I mean,
all right. We can't strike out. We're down 0-2. We got to swing.
For the Kansas City Chiefs, all the team's 3 AFL championship game wins were won on the road. True or false? All the team's 3 AFL championship game wins were won on the road. True or false? I mean, that's like, I feel like that's like a true, right? Like that's the fact.
I mean,
and David and Mark are right. We're in rebuild mode when it comes to trivia right now.
There was something, if you remember, go back to when Marcus Mariota threw a touchdown pass to himself in the playoffs. There was a thing about the Chiefs not being able to win home playoff games, and it was like a deal, like a long franchise issue that they could not win.
Well, because Joe Montana had an opportunity at home to win his Chiefs playoff game, but he did, didn't he? He won, but that's why I'm going back and forth. I think it's
I think we go true. I think we go true. All on the road.
We can't go 0-3, can we? You want to lock it in?
We totally could, but yeah, we're going to go true final A to Z.
Impressively, the team won all 3 AFL championships it appeared in. They beat the Houston Oilers 20-17 in double overtime. They beat the Bills 31-7 in 1966. They beat the Raiders 17-7, and all 3 were on the road.
Whew. All right, we're 1-2, so we've got a chance. All right, last sports question.
What team did the Eagles play during the first nationally televised game on a major network? What team did the Eagles play during the first nationally televised game on a major network? The Patriots, the Brooklyn Dodgers, the Chicago Bears, or the Pittsburgh Steelers?
The
Brooklyn Dodgers.
I was thinking the Giants before you mentioned the options.
I don't think it's the Patriots, and I honestly, I don't think it's the Steelers. I think it's between the Bears and the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Yeah, I feel like the Bears is probably right. Like
the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Titanium Titan says Dodgers, lock it in. Scott says Dodgers seem like a weird one. Titanium Titan says, trust me on this one, that he knows it. Do we go with our Titanium Titan?
I mean,
Kentucky Wildcat guy?
We need some sort of help.
All right, so this one's on Titanium Titan. If we miss this one, then that's squarely on his shoulders. So we're going to go with the Brooklyn Dodgers final A to Z.
October 22nd, 1939, the game was televised on NBC, making the first game broadcasted on a major network as the Eagles played the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Man. Okay. Tiffany says y'all are trusting everybody. Yeah, when we don't know the answers, we have no choice.
Well, look, again, I picked this, and let me clarify.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example of like questions that I can't ask. Like there are some that are so easy that like Kansas City Chiefs were originally known as what team? the Texas Titans, the Houston Texans, the Dallas Texans, or the Kansas City Chiefs. I know that. I'm not going to.
Wasn't it the Dallas Texans?
It's the Dallas Texans.
Yeah.
You know why? Because my parents went to a game with the Dallas Texans. They had a red helmet with a Texas state white state emblem with a star in it. That's the Texans logo. I'm not going to ask that because it's too easy. So I have to kind of press our I have to find the hard ones. I don't enjoy this.
Yeah.
But
So we're 2-2, and we've got one question left. We've got to have this. We cannot go back-to-back 2 and 3. We got to have our non-sports question correct.
All right, nerds. Nerds.
Who are you calling nerds?
What was the first portable computer? The Epson HX20, the Cray 1, the Osborne 1, or the IBM 5155? What was the first portable computer? The Epson HX20, the Cray 1, the Osborne 1, or the IBM 5155?
I feel like it's the Epson. That sounded right to me. Now, Xavier says the Osborne 1. Noah says Osborne 1.
That was my kind of gut. That sounded familiar because I don't know this. But
Dom says the Osborne, that he had to do research on this a while back. So we're getting a lot of Osbornes. I think all of them have been answered. Osborne 1 is popular. And now people are seeing the IBM 5155.
I think we go with the gut of the Osborne.
It's fine with me.
This is to go 3 and 2, not 2 and 3, correct?
This is to go 3 and 2 or 2 and 3. Yeah. We're currently 2 and 2.
I think we got to go Osborne.
All right. So let's go Osborne, final A to Z.
In 1981, the world's first portable computer, weighing almost 24 pounds, wasn't very portable by today's standards, but it was light enough to carry and could fit under an airplane seat. It sold, this would be another good question. How much was the first portable computer?
$10,000.
$1,795. Came with a 5-inch display, a modem port, 2 5 1/4 floppy drives, a battery pack, and 64 kilobytes of memory. This computer was the Osborne 1.
Okay, we got it. Yeah, that's tough. I mean,
that's huge.
That's
huge.
Good thing we didn't have Sam this week. He was born in 2010.
What is a floppy disk?
Sam, have you ever used a floppy disk? I mean, the Ask Sam questions are always funny. Well, we got to 3 and 2.
I mean, we fought hard.
Yes. So
that doesn't improve our average.
No, we go down. We are at now 66%, down from 67% because we are now 50-75.
I mean, Nick's kind of getting the love of the show.
No, we're 66%, so we're over Jeff Fisher.
We're not going that direction, though.
I don't know. 66% in the NFL, you're making the playoffs most years. So
we're here to win the whole thing, though. We're not here to backdoor. We're not here to Dobbs our way into the playoffs. Get our break.
Hey, don't throw that on Josh Dobbs. That's not fair to Josh Dobbs, who probably knew the answer to the computer question.
Oh, I mean, he would have gotten 5-0.
Yeah, right. All right, guys. Great show here on this Tuesday. We're talking about rebuild, reset, retool for the Titans offseason. Great conversation. Enjoyed that. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow on another episode of A to Z Sports Live here in the mornings. And like the show before you go, give us that thumbs up if you're watching on Facebook or on YouTube, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also hit us up with a Facebook like while you're at it. Buck Rising will be live tonight, A to Z Sports Prime Time at 8 Central Time, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow on a Wednesday morning. I appreciate it as always.